I really liked California. I mean, it was so wonderful to feel that you could meet somebody on the street, and if you connected, well, you could sit down and have a cup of coffee. You just don't do that in New England at that time.
That was Mission Creek houseboat resident Ginny Stearns. I'm Jeff, and this is Storied San Francisco. Every week on this podcast, you'll hear from environmentalists, writers, photographers, and other San Franciscans, telling stories, sharing personal histories, and trying to put into words what makes this city so special. Welcome to episode 26, part 1. In this podcast, Jenny and her husband Bob Isaacson talk about growing up and moving to San Francisco, respectively. Bob went to UC Berkeley for engineering, while Jenny was an artist. She first lived up the coast in Mendocino before moving to San Francisco in the early 80s. They talk about their various efforts to preserve and protect the environment around Mission Creek amid mass development, as well as some of the other art and engineering work they've done. Quick side note, I didn't have a mic of my own for this recording, so I'm there, but a little quieter than the guests this time. Here's Bob and Jenny.
I was born in Brooklyn, New York, Flatbush, yeah.
I've heard of it. Wow. So you must have spent a good chunk of the early part of your life.
18. I moved out at 18. My dad moved to Stockton from New York, so the family, we all moved out, and I was 18. My father changed his name to Saxon from Isaacson, and then I changed mine back after a while.
What prompted that name change for your dad?
Well, he said it was an easier name for people to know. He was an attorney, but it was back then. Being Jewish in New York meant you were kind of a subcaste, and that's really what it was for him. Okay. And it wasn't that for me. So yeah. That was my born name. That's what I wanted to be. Yeah, I went to Cal. Well, I started out, I went to Stockton College for a semester or a year, I forget, and then I went to Reed College for a couple of years, and then I finished up at Cal. I got an engineering degree, a bachelor's in engineering at Cal. So when we were in Stockton, I was just there for half a year. I was really traveling the rest of the time.
What was Berkeley like back then?
Much like it is now, yeah. Many fewer people for sure, but it was basically a very urban place.
So that would have been the 50s.
Yeah. I was born in 30, so the middle 50s. Yeah.
Okay, so before Berkeley became hippie and the student movement and all that, you were there well before that.
No, it was during that. That was all going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been a long time.
Yeah. So then, do you remember the first time you came to San Francisco?
When I was in Stockton, living in Stockton, I went to, I had an aunt and an uncle who helped me get into the Maritime Union as a permittee. So I was able to get get on a coastwise boats as a seaman. And
did you like San Francisco?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So this also would have been in the 50s?
In the mid-50s, yeah. I got a tattoo on my shoulder. I've got an anchor on my left shoulder.
That you got here in the city?
That I got here in San Francisco, yes. Yeah.
There's got to be some meaning behind that.
Yeah, well, I was shipping out on the Merchant Marine, so I was getting ready for that, so I thought that would be appropriate.
I grew up outside of Boston in a very nice upper middle class suburb, which was very pleasant and very boring.
Upper middle class.
Which one?
Winchester,
okay.
Near Lexington and Concord, and so it had it was very nice to be in a very pleasant place, but I was happy to leave, and so after college, I went to Oberlin in Ohio, and I had a boyfriend who was from Berkeley, and whenever we were talking about things, he said, yeah, but in Berkeley there, in California, it's different. Okay, I guess I better check this place out. So
What year would that be?
68.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, right in the middle of it. So I really liked California. I mean, it was so wonderful to feel that you could meet somebody on the street, and if you connected, you could sit down and have a cup of coffee. You just don't do that in New England at that time. Everybody, you have to be introduced, and I even discovered that when I went back to, I was walking through Harvard Square, and I noticed that at the point just before eye contact, people would avert their eyes. At first I felt like, gee, what do I look like, a dish rag or something? But it is just, you just don't allow that at that time there. So it was wonderful to be in California. I got connected with the Ecology Center. I learned some skills there. And then I wound up in the Mendocino coast. And I ran a little tiny little natural foods cafe, which started a whole life for me there. And
What town was that?
in Little River, just south of Mendocino. And it's a tiny little place. I mean, it was the middle of the hippie era, so everybody was having a wonderful time. And we do things like when the sunset was really beautiful. In the wintertime, everybody just put down their forks and we'd take a little step outside. And so beautiful. Everything was going to be so much better after that. So I wound up building a house, doing the Nouveau Frontier trip. You buy land, you build a house up there, yeah. And so that, of course, took much, much longer, and it was way more difficult. But as an artist, it gave me a lot of skills, working with all different kinds of building materials and tools. And then I sort of returned to my original kind of direction of being an artist. And so it was a wonderful time up there, but it also is a very tiny town. And so I wound up moving back down to the Bay Area where there were more artistic outlets. And so living in the city. So I really enjoyed, I realized I needed much more than a tiny town where you ask another artist, well, how's your work going? Well, my truck broke down. So it was really nice to be out of there. More was going on.
What kind of art do you do?
Well, now I am doing environmental, ecological artwork. And so that was, I got my MFA in Vermont at Vermont College, which is a sort of for adult students who wanted to, really get a degree later. And that was great because then I put together my artistic and environmental interests. And so the creek was a perfect place to be because then I had all kinds, nothing was going on down here. So I did some projects in the water, some bird perches. I have a floating wildlife island off the back of my boat here. And and I went on and did some things with, I fell in love with my compost pile and started making some giant fabric creatures like a 16-foot pink velvet earthworm. And so, just to sort of awaken people to these marvelous creatures. And then through our daughter Maylee, who needed to do a science project, we discovered there was a whole forest of amazing invertebrates living on our boats and floats. So I thought, wow. So I moved right on. I made a satin mussel with all this beautiful satin lining, a sea squirt 6 feet tall. Yeah, right. That's why I thought I should make one. Yeah, so, and that group of work was called It Came From Under the Dock. So I did I've done some works on climate change, and so I'm part of a gallery up in Fort Bragg, up in Mendocino County, called Partners. And so that's really nice to be able to be part of a gallery where I have room to make whatever I want to make.
Where did you land in San Francisco?
Well, I wound up sort of in the Castro area, and then wound up being able to sold my place in Mendocino, was able to get a place in the Dolores Park area, and which is shared with another artist. And so we could have, it's an Edwardian, so it has lots of really great space for studio. And so I still...
natural light, probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Tall ceilings. And,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So this would have been the early 70s?
So that was in the early 80s, actually.
Okay. Oh, so you were in Little River for
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, good long time.
How was San Francisco then? Like, what were your impressions? And what kind of places did you go frequently? Like, did you have restaurants or cafes, or what were your impressions of the city back then?
After being up in Mendocino for a while, one of the things that impressed me was how busy it was in the city, and it would take me a while to kind of get used to it. Stand on a street corner, and there was so much going on at that corner. It was just amazing. But let's see. So, doing artwork, I was part of the Kala Institute over in Berkeley that does printmaking, so I met a lot of people through there. And then I got tired of printmaking and tore up all my old prints and made them into collages, and eventually got into sculpture. So I've been in sculpture for quite a while. So, some of the art world.
Were you involved with Soma Arts and Jack Davis at all?
I did go to see things there, but it wasn't until I met Bob and that I really started to get to know the creek, which was quite different then. I mean, it was dusty parking lots over here, full of truck trailers and homeless and and dust. I mean, in some ways, it was kind of interesting. It felt like these kind of badlands where there were feral humans and living, and and of course, it changed with all of our involvement in this new Mission Bay thing. So, being involved in the formation of Mission Bay, I think, has been a really amazing experience. One of the things I love about the creek here is our community and how we had to step forward and really, stand up for ourselves as everything was being changed. There were certainly people who wanted to get rid of the houseboats altogether. They didn't look good on the plans. Led by Corinne Woods and others, we really, made ourselves part of the conversation about what would be going on here. And so I learned a lot from that, how you've got to be at the table where the decisions are made if you want to get what you see happen. So we talk them, for example, into putting wetlands around the creek. And part of the new park, our park here is going to be renovated. We have some habitat in there for birds and butterflies, and make it more of an education and wildlife place. So that's exciting to be able to, participate in that.
Be part of this decision.
Yeah.
It's your backyard.
Yes. Yeah.
Bob, is this something that you were part of, forming the Mission Creek Conservancy?
Yeah, I was basically the originator of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you moved here in '79.
Yes.
How did this all come about in those 3 or 4 years? What?
Well, the people in the creek here are primarily interested in preserving the creek and preserving the houseboats and so on here. There are a number of people who are also interested in preserving the habitat, and that was my interest, and that's the reason I formed the conservancy, was to make sure that things didn't get wiped out. I think there was only one interchange with the developer. Basically, they wanted to pave the banks. It would be easier to maintain that way, and I put a quarter-page ad or something like that in the Chronicle to not do it, to have them not do it, and they backed off, and it was a stupid idea in the first place. And but the idea was to preserve the habitat. It's beautiful. We have all sorts of. We don't have the pictures of them here. I had some of the great egrets and great blue herons, and just beautiful wildlife that are here and should be preserved.
So you said you got an engineering degree?
Yeah, I'm a registered civil engineer. I worked for the redevelopment agency here.
I was going to ask, what kind of work you were doing at the time?
I was a project engineer, so building things. I started out at Hunters Point. There's housing that was provided by the city for people. I forget what the name of it is. Anyway, we converted some of that into rental housing. Okay. I did that at Hunters Point, and then I was project engineer for the South Beach project down here. We built a harbor. Oh. I was project engineer for the South Beach harbor, and for the it was very nice. In fact, I was the only project engineer for the entire project, and the streets. We built the streets, which of course are now all full of housing and stuff like that. So that was my job for the agency. I loved it. I loved building things, and that's what I did.
Did you always have a mind for preservation at the same time? Because there's development, but not all developers have that awareness that we can develop, but we have to be mindful of the habitat and the nature, the plants and the animals and the water.
Yeah. For that, it's a kind of a real, the South Beach Harbor has a pier that you can walk right out to the end of it. The original design didn't call for connecting it to the bank, and I had it connected, and so there are benches on the side so people can walk out there.
I think I've been out there.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it's not.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome.
It's quite nice.
Yeah, it's so. As a project engineer, I love to do that. I had a few opportunities like that, not many, but I love to do that. Make it people habitable.
That was Bob Isaacson and Ginny Stearns. Join us Thursday when we'll hear more stories from Bob and Jenny. Music for the podcast is by Otis McDonald. Film photography is by Michelle Kilfeather. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to learn about some of the stuff we do besides this podcast. Find the 70-plus episodes on our website, storiedsf.com, and wherever you listen to podcasts. If that happens to be Apple Podcasts and you have a minute to spare, please rate and review the show for us. Send comments or suggestions to storiedsf@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.